Welcome to the Forever Better Academy podcast, where you will be given the principles, tools, and techniques to reach the next stage on your journey of self-mastery. Who could you become? I'm your host, Wade Vincent. What would life be like if you faced it not as you wish it was, but how it actually is? That's what I want to talk to you guys about today. So as you are probably well aware by now, this is Wade Vincent, and you are listening to the Forever Better Academy podcast. So all my life growing up, like probably most of you out there listening and just about anyone on the planet, I was trying to find out who I was, who I am, and how I best become myself and navigate this thing called life that I'm trying to figure out on the fly. So I had this probably a really strong desire to fit in, to be accepted, even to the point where not popular necessarily, but I guess a level of admiration. I always enjoyed the idea of being a person of influence potentially, or someone that was admired or people look up to. So setting a good example, really always wanted to be a leader, right? So I believe it or not, I didn't have a lot of confidence when I was younger, and it was something that really developed in high school as I was, as I said, trying on those different personalities, trying to sort of, I guess you could consider it creating my reality, right? This is kind of what we all do as we go through life. I like it when I've heard people say that we create ourselves rather than we find ourselves. I feel like it's kind of a combination of the two, because in my experience, I've done a lot of work on creating the person I want to be. And as I dig deeper, I look and understand that really resonates with that inner voice of the person who deep down I know that I am, if that makes sense, right? So I always wanted to be an example for others. And, outwardly facing, the confidence came once I learnt that I could apply myself to things and practice things and try new personalities and ideas and finding who I am, what I'm good at, and where I'm supposed to be. And then I think deep down it's really wanting to find myself. As I said, I had that need to be of value to others and do something that was valued and appreciated, that led to admiration, and also trying to find, how do I become that person that I know in my heart that's who I'm meant to be, right? So I at those early stages, I definitely wasn't facing my life as it was. I was really trying to just make things work in a way that I wanted them to, not necessarily that I could understand or navigate through things as reality presented them, as they currently were. It was very much misaligned with that life, as it is. So I think it first started probably when my friends and I in maybe grade 10 were heavily into that skating culture. All I could think about was skateboarding. That's what I did. If I wasn't skating, I was watching videos on skating and then learning tricks and techniques and just immersed in that world, right? And then one of my friends at the time, he I don't know, he just sort of found this resurgence of b-boying, the breakdancing as everyone mainstream would call it, And I remember we were mucking around skating at school, and he got down and did some footwork on the ground, this little routine, and I was just like, "Oh, what's that? That's something cool!" Like, I want to get involved. And all of my friends that were skating at the time started to feel that attraction like a moth to a flame. We were like, okay, this is something interesting. We need to get amongst. And there's my friend Josh at the time took us to a class. There's a place in the valley in Brisbane called Channel Direct, and it was basically like the best b-boys in Australia that were teaching, and it was like almost diving into that foundation of what the elements of hip hop were, and getting that street education from the people that were the best in the country to do it, and were really pioneers of hip hop culture in this country, and that just gave me this confidence. It was probably the first time I felt like a personality that I trod on, or a persona, or just something that I felt aligned with who I am, and what I was passionate about, and then that I got good at. And then I saw the results when I went from being a shy kid that was sort of reserved and sort of kept to myself, to getting out, owning a dance floor in front of everyone, and people being excited or cheering, and just, it was a cool thing. And I was like, okay, this is something. I've been able to get good enough at something that people see that I'm good at it, and it brings me joy, and I guess brings some value in the form of entertainment to the people watching. So that was probably the first time that I realized I could take that confidence that came from being competent, and know that I'd earned it, because I was training, every other day, hours a night, 2-3 hours a night. That's all we're doing was dancing, like, and then that sort of was like that, almost like that foundational seed to help me understand part of who I am, being the skills that I'm good at, or what I can learn to be good at and apply myself in, and the value that can bring to others. So I was starting to find myself, it felt like, right? So I went from being this skateboarding kid, and then I became like this b-boy, this break dancer, and then that led into further deep dive into hip hop, and became a graffiti artist, and then from there I was into the music, so I started to become a rapper, and then that's when I was like, okay, this is the thing, I'm pursuing this, and I'm going to give it everything I have, and I'm committed. This is my life. This is what I want to do. And as I progressed through that reality, it never quite aligned perfectly. Like, I committed to that lifestyle. I don't like to call it personalities, because it wasn't necessarily that I was jumping in and out of trying to be someone I'm not, but it was definitely experimenting and trying things that caught my attention, or my interests, and that I enjoyed and was good at. And it was really about establishing the skill sets that I had, what I could take and combine, and utilize all those different things in the melting pot, and become the best version of myself. And I always gave it everything, and I was dedicated to the craft, and I'm very much motivated by mastery of a craft, and I think I can always recall, there was really this almost like a brick wall that I was bashing my head against and ignoring, that is as committed as I could be, like, to this craft, and as passionate and immersed in it as I was, something wasn't quite right. Something wasn't aligning with my calling or my truth. And a lot of these things, in hindsight, it's easy to look back on because you can pinpoint those moments and see the dots that connect to the other dots that connect to the dots that have led you to where you are currently, right? So as I've learnt to be more present in the moment and face that truth of life as it is, not as I would like it to be, I've realized I can't pretend my way through things. There's only so far that putting up a facade will get you. Now, bear with me. I'm trying to word this in the best way possible. It wasn't that I was necessarily pretending to be anyone, but I was definitely playing a part, if that makes sense, right? So I believed in it. I was committed, almost like if you could think of an actor, right? If you have seen the new Joker movie, Joaquin Phoenix, I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it properly. He was committed to that role. It was a brilliant performance, absolutely incredible. And I kind of feel it's kind of like that in that's how I was approaching my life, right? I was committed to the role, and I had everyone believing that, and that's what I believed because I was so immersed in it, and it became part of my DNA almost. But if I really look at it like that same movie actor analogy, it wasn't the real me, right? It wasn't the true Wade. It wasn't the end game, right? So once I went through my sort of, I guess, like an aha moment where I was like, I can be whoever I want to be, right? And you feel this sense of freedom, but the most interesting, ironic thing is you're not trying to be anyone you want to be. You're trying to be who you truly are, and that's who you really want to be deep down. Who you want to be is that little you that's inside, right? That's never changed. If you think back to when you were a little kid, that's why they say if you're ever trying to figure out what your purpose is in life, a lot of people and coaches and psychologists and all different walks of life and people that offer advice on this would tell you to go back to when you were a child. Think back when you were like 7 years old, and what lit up your soul. What were you in love with? What was the thing that gave you the most joy? And it's there, it's still in you. It's just layers upon layers of experience and going through life and packing on all these different levels that sort of cloud that, and it's almost like you're working your way back through, revealing down through those layers to get back to your true self, right? Who you are, dealing with life as it is, not how you'd like it to be, right? And I'd love the idea of being, a famous rapper and touring and traveling and performing and just being on stage and sharing the things that I learned with the crowd and giving them all this amazing music, right? And as hard as I pushed and worked on trying to succeed in that, it got close, but never to the level I wanted or expected or was attempting, right? And if I really look at it, I think it's honestly because it wasn't truly aligned with my purpose and who I am. And I can look back on these elements of for an example, always used to write songs. Of course, as a musician, I don't know if you call me a musician, I guess. I don't play instruments, but as a rapper, as a performer, as a songwriter, as a producer, I would craft songs and write lyrics relentlessly. I've still got books and books and books to physically write on paper. And the intent behind it was basically to share things that I've learned on my journey, or things of value that will make a difference to other people, and tell stories, right? So these were those things that were the true, if I was facing life as it is, and these things that have always been, a piece of me that I understand and innately am aware of, right? If you, as I said, remove the layers and listen, it's, you can feel it, you can hear it, it's there. Now, as I transitioned away from that music and being a performer and entertainer, a lot of the traits and things that drove my desire to do music and perform are the same things that still that I'm pursuing through a different medium. So now, through Forever Better Academy, I'm sitting here right now, recording this podcast for you, talking about things that I've learnt and lessons that have brought value and joy and transformation and wonder to my life that I can share with others in the hope of impacting and changing their lives as well. It's the same thing, I love writing blog posts still. I'm still, captivated by structure of words and the arrangement and perfectly formatting ways to express and articulate things that I feel are important to share, right? Like, it's the same strengths, right? So as I strip back through those layers and realize, when I remove everything else, the things that remain, those core pieces or components of me that align with who I am and my journey and my quest, are just done in a different manner. So it's like I guess the conflict I faced was, I had the desire and ambition to do things that were of value and make a difference in the world. And I had to go through different ways of trying to achieve that, to find not only what I'm good at, or the best way that I can deliver on what I'm here for, but also that comes into that alignment, as I said, with what I'm trying to achieve and how I'm trying to do it. So once I really, and it was a hard thing to accept when you've committed yourself so much and so deeply to a personality or persona, or, as I said, a way of living. When you have to come back to that reality of how you best continue and move forward, and it's different to what you've anticipated, it's a weird thing to almost feel like you've had not necessarily a clean slate, but a lot of the things that make up who you are removed. It gives you that ability to bring down the focus and really remember what you're trying to achieve, who you are, and why you're doing what you do. So it that was probably the driver that helped me to accept life as it is. Now, I'm not saying you don't, dream and have big ambition and goals. You have to absolutely 100% have those drivers that are giving you that sense of purpose, why you're here, what you're doing, what your mission is specifically. What you have to do is go through lots of different experiences and remember what those core factors are that drive and motivate you, and apply them in those different experiments you go through, in those different traits, in those different personalities. And sooner or later, as the layers are revealed, you start to see the true meaning of what you're doing, that's always been there, that's always a part of you. If you can quiet your mind enough to listen and hear it again, you can remember how you face life as it is, not as you want it to be. You can spend a lot of time trying to swim against the current, but all that does is it makes you tired and puts you at risk of drowning. You've got to go with the flow. That's the reason why it's a cliche saying, go with the flow, because the flow is there for a reason. It's destined to take you to places, and you have to learn how to navigate through that, deal with life as it is, not as you wish it to be. And everything starts to fall into place. Once you accept that, it's actually freeing, and it empowers you to have more focus on how you best achieve the tasks ahead of you, rather than trying to prepare yourself to achieve those tasks. Does that make sense? This is something that's really sort of been a big piece of my journey, because I've spent quite a lot of time. I'm very reflective, and I like to sit back and analyze and think, okay, what have I learned from this experience? What is the universe trying to teach me? And all of this comes with experience. This is one of those things, you can't speed the cooking process. As I've said in the past, you can't, fast forward or cheat your way through things. You have to experience them to understand where to go and how to utilize those experiences to your advantage, so that you can understand who you are, right? Who you are. And I think at the end of all of it, the real change comes from when you get to remove that inner conflict, because a lot of that time and the energy that you're spending on trying on personalities or trying to fit where you don't is lost energy that could be utilized in a far better way, that's going to accelerate your journey. When you've removed all that conflict, like I was causing that for myself. I was constantly maybe if you put on a brave face, as the saying goes, sometimes it's a defense mechanism. It's safety. It's a way to keep yourself at arm's length, or keep enough distance that people don't get too close. Because if they find out the true things about you, it may hurt you. But the wonderful thing is, if they find out those true things about you and your vulnerabilities, and you're open and genuine and honest with everyone, they're the same. They have the same worries, the same concerns. They're going through the same journey. They're trying to figure out who they are. They're putting on the same brave face. They're, getting dressed in that suit, playing the role. This is who I am. They're the person as a putting on that chef's jacket and the chef's hat and stepping into the kitchen, playing the role. This is who I am. And you can tell the people that are aligned 100% with their true calling and how life is for them. There's like an aura, there's a joy, there's a peace. You can see there's a balance to them. There's this alignment. They just have a level of calm, because all the unnecessary worry and stress and trying to keep up appearances is removed. And this is like it was a revelation for me. Once I understood, I could face life as it is, be open and honest and truthful about it, share that with other people, and it when you open up, it brings people in. People are attracted to other people that can offer some form of light in the darkness they're facing. I know I am whenever I see somebody or meet someone, or I'm fortunate enough to be around somebody who's found that balance and is handling life as it is and living in that moment and navigating without trying to put on any emotional armor. You feel a different aura. As I said, it's a wonderful thing, because those people have figured something out, that helps you move to the next step. So I want you guys to remember, what would your life be like if you faced it not in a way that you wish it was, but as it truly is. All right, who could you become? Who could you become? This is Wade Vincent for the Forever Better Academy podcast. Thank you guys for listening. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. I will talk to you guys again next week. Have a wonderful weekend, and who could you become? Talk soon, guys. Bye.